Okay, you guys, I'm gonna. It's after I've made the picture, obviously, but I explained a whole bunch of stuff at the beginning, and my head was cut off. It was like right here. So you'll see as soon as it pops into the next, clip, my head will be cut off. I tried to cut it out and get the important information, but I'm gonna walk you through how to draw this thing or paint it with watercolor pencils. And we sell these watercolor pencils here. They're Karen Dash, or I don't know how you say it, Karen Dash or I don't know how. I just say Karen Dash. There are these ones, and they're really nice. They're super high end. If you don't know anything about painting, you probably don't need these. If you've spent a little bit of time working with watercolor and you know a little bit about watercolor paint, these you'll notice the quality right away. During the video I use these ones. They are the museum grade, same brand. They're just the museum grade. We don't have any of these for sale. We can get them though. They're a little pricier. They are, I think I talk about it in the video, they're rated for light. So if they're in direct sunlight, they won't fade as much as the cheaper ones. But these ones are still pretty pricey. These ones are $50 for 18. You get what you pay for. And so if you know what you're doing, you're trying to make nice art, you're gonna want something pretty nice like those. We sell this thing too. I think I talk about how to use it. It's just a palette where you can draw on it and then use the watercolor pencils like paint. This is $12. We sell this as well. And anything that brand we can order in for you. So I hope you enjoy the video. And brush pens, we sell water brush pens, all the stuff, we sell it. So enjoy the video and give it a try. Get some watercolor pencils and go to painting. A lot of people that have popped in here have actually said, well, I have watercolor pencils, but I haven't messed around with water with them. I just use them like regular colored pencils. And if you haven't used water, this is what they do. Today I'm going to use these. These are not your cheapest option. They're a lot of fun to use though. Karen Dash, these are the museum ones. And so basically, I'll show you the rating. These ones are rated for light, so they won't fade. I think that's about all that they, compared to their other ones. So this set is rated for light, like museum grade. They won't fade. And I'll show you the little star system. But they come in a cool packaging. They're fun to use. They feel special. You can see you have a big range of different products. Where's the Crayola? Here's the Crayola. So you can see how they just kind of quit. They don't. Of course, they're so cheap, but so it's great for just getting started, seeing what they do. But you can see these ones. Then look at the Prismacolor. The color just keeps going and going. I'll give you a closer look at that too. These ones are much pricier. But then something else you'll notice is when you mix the red and the yellow, the range of oranges, and just like paints, if you get really cheap paint, you don't necessarily know what's in the paint. So when you go to mix it, like the primary colors, you might get silly colors showing up when they're just cheap colors, where you get what you pay for. These are really nice ones. And also how they dissolve. So something you'll notice with the Crayola compared to the Karen Dash, those ones, the Crayola, when you go, you will color with the pencil. Then when you go to dissolve it, you'll have like this mark wherever you put it down. You won't be able to get rid of it. Where the nicer ones, Prismacolor, are great too. And I also like, shucks, I can't remember what brand they were. There's another one that we have that I like too. But so you get what you pay for, and you will notice how they mix. These ones you can dissolve all of the color, so when you put it on, you're basically using watercolor. Like if you have dried out watercolor and then you reactivate it, basically you're putting it on like that. But you have a lot more control. There's things you can do with these that you can't do with watercolor paint. Here's the Crayola ones, so you can see how far they go. They're not very far compared to these are Prismacolors. These ones are great. And then also notice how they the different colors you can get to show up. So this is this right here is the colors that I'm going to be using. This right here is this set of colored pencils. So they are great. But notice how vibrant and look how far that blue goes. And some of these would have went farther, but I just didn't. Also notice, see the nice greens showing up with just mixing the yellow and the blue, and the orange showing up, and then there's some pretty nice purples showing up there as well. And then here's the color rating system. So on these ones, the museum grade pencils, you'll see, let's see if I can get it to focus here. Okay. They're really nice. They feel special when you hold them. So see those stars right there? The more stars there are, the higher they're rated for light, so they won't fade as much. See, this one right here has 3 stars instead of that other one had 5, and this one is it's a blue. This is going to be the part that you kind of struggle with if you're not a sketcher, but just draw couple different ranges going on here. And if you want, let's see, I'm going to try and make a river coming out of there like that. Okay, so I will make a little strip here, and I'll put my colors a little range, so then you won't even at the end you'll be able to see what colors I used and kind of the idea of about where they go. But again, I'm gonna mix them and blend them, and you'll see. But I'm gonna put it in a time lapse now, and you can watch me apply the color, and then I'll talk and show you before I start adding the actual water to it. All right, let's do it. And now, so you can use these water brush pens, and you can just use a regular brush with water. These are just great for travel, just because you have the water here and you don't have to have an open container when you're trying to travel or anything. You just put a cap on. And there's a ton of different kinds of water brush pens. When I go over it, see how it just dissolves it right away? So the trick with watercolor pencils, or one of the cool things about them, is you have the freedom to kind of plan it out like this and get it all sketched in without when you're using watercolor paint, you have to know what colors you're going to use, and you only get your small window of time as it's drying. You know, you got to be putting it down and putting the red in there, and it will do different things when it's different wetness. So these, if you can actually use one of, we have these trays, paint palette, and basically you can just put, you can take your pencil like this and draw on them, and then that's basically watercolor. I mean, now you can pick it up and paint with it just like you could with watercolor paint. So you can do that. And so now when we have it placed on here, one of the things is when you go over it, so when you go over it and you let it dry and you come back over it, it's not going to reactivate as well as the first time. So it does it will start to kind of stick, and you can layer them and do that kind of stuff. So now when I have this blocked in, I'm going to be able to just do a wash all the way over this. And I think I'm going to actually go and grab a brush instead of this, because I do like the brush because I don't have to keep pinching it to get more and more water. Okay, I'm going to use this brush. It's just a super cheap brush from Hobby Lobby, nothing fancy. Alright, so notice how the colors are layered, how I layered them. So when I even put some yellow here, and you can even see some green showing up here, and I didn't put any green, that's just the yellow over the blue. So when I go to paint these, a lot of green is gonna show up. Some green will show up here too. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start in the sky. So very similar to watercolor paint, I'm gonna do a wash. So that's one thing. So if you get this wet like this, and you can mix it and you can blend those lines together. But if you go over it and then you let it dry and you come back over it, it's tough to get them to blend together. So when you have it wet, the first time you have it wet, like these little marks right here, can you see those? You want to activate those and get them dissolving together. Otherwise, they'll be more permanent. So at first I use a lot of water. See that yellow show up? And just like watercolor paint, if you use more water, it will wash it out and it will be lighter and lighter. So if you want it to be very opaque, you just barely use any water and just put a lot of pencil on there. And it'll make hard lines as well if you get it wet. Like if I bring it wet up to this line and then I let it dry a little bit, it will be a hard line, or they will also bloom into each other or have a blossom kind of a thing if you work them too quickly. But see that green showing up there? I don't necessarily want these mountains up here to be very dark. I want them to be pretty light, because I want them to almost be fading into the sunset or sunrise, whatever it is. So I'm just going to work this mountain range right at once, and this, because they're all kind of about the same distance. And right on this edge, I'll just put a few little jaggedies, maybe to hint at some trees or a little bit of texture there. Now I'm ready, and again you can see it kind of going to muddy because I have all of the red, yellow, and blue all going on. So if I overwork it, they will turn brown, but that's okay with this because it's earth. It is earth, but it has those earthy tones. But alright, so now we're getting into here, and you can always, they act a little differently. Be careful once you have it wet, if you want to bring in some color, be careful, because this ends up, if you draw too hard, it ends up leaving, see those lines are a little more permanent there. So you can add color, but see how they're they're just stuck there, and that's because the rest was wet and I just drew right on it. But we'll be able to come back and add some layers to that. So now I'm just gonna finish this up, and as I get closer, now I can start to hint at some trees. And I have this really wet, so it will, see it kind of blossoming out into there. It's giving you the idea that there's some trees there, and it might have been too wet. They're gonna kind of fade all the way away. I can come back over it. Get this area going. Just kind of dab your brush like that. So right there, I'll just use it and make some little tops of trees. You can also pick up color here and add it to a different spot. Work back and forth. See that? I'll add some blotchy in here. Then I want to try to get a little crazy with it. So if you're gentle when you add it, the lines will look like natural shapes compared to just jaggedy lines like that. You can just add in some trees. And I want it to get really dark up here, so I'm going to start putting in some black kind of tree shapes right up next to that water. And then on this side of the river, we can get some trees going. And again, if I put dark right here, I can move it with my brush like this. When I get it wet, now I can push it and pull it, drag it around. They get, when it's wet, they really dissolve good, so you just barely use any pressure and it will just take off in the water. like that. I got kind of carried away with this right here. Not too happy about that. Anyway, you can kind of see what they can do. Let's see if I can doctor it up a little bit here. Until I overworked the paper here a lot to get falling up, but I don't know, I thought if I could make the other part match, it might kind of be the same texture. I mean, if you were a art collector, you'd say, I don't think so, Dan. You balled up the paper. But just for what we're doing, it's alright. It's alright. There we go. That'll be good. Alright. There you have it. There's a little bit of how-to. If you want, you can put some birds up in here in the sky. There you go. Again, probably ought to put 3. There. Kinda nice, huh? Okay, so when it dried out, it's not actually too bad. Didn't it look like it was gonna be so messed up right here? Once it dried out, I just kinda brushed off the top. But now, if you like it like that, if you're doing one, just go ahead and leave it right there. But I like to push things all the way to the max until they're ruined. So if you like, if you like me, you can give this a go. This is just a micron pen. Can you see this thing? So it's a little tiny baby one. So little. I'm gonna do some little tiny outlines along the top of the mountain. And then where you have some mountain ranges kind of overlapping, you can just a little hint of a line. So where we have these, what I was planning to do when I had this big messed up area right here, which it's still kind of messed up, I can just bring like a little ridge line down right where the colors change. See how that kind of just makes a switch in angles, so then it looks like a change of a mountain angle. Right here we'll start to get a little more jaggedy because there's getting to be little trees right here. Again, you can actually make little tree tops if you take your time here. I'm trying to hurry because this video is already pretty long, but so just scooting right along. And then of course right in here, if you want, you can draw actual trees. But there you have it. That's how you can use watercolor pencils